North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Europe, Australia. Over the course of a couple decades, my family and I have managed to cover every inhabited continent on Earth. My mother was born in Singapore, my sister was born in Thailand, another sister was born in South Korea, and my final sister and I were born in the United States. My name is Ethan Jordan, I'm 17 years old, and I've spent most of, if not all of my life living abroad. I've experienced the best and worst of many countries all around the world, and most of my developmental years were scattered around the United States, South Korea, and now Russia. Growing up, it was difficult to pack up and move to a new environment, culture, and language every few years. So much so, I always wondered what life would be like if I had lived in the same place for all of my childhood. Maybe I would have more solid, permanent friendships, or just a place to truly call home. Years and years of traveling all over the world have been quite the experience, but I was never fully satisfied. Well, you might be wondering, what is so wrong about experiencing so many different things and going so many different places? But let me put forth some of my personal pros and cons. As for pros, I've had the privilege of seeing some of the most beautiful places on earth, from New York to Sydney, from Seoul to Moscow, and everywhere in between. I have been able to witness some of nature's finest beauty. I've also been able to taste some of the most delicious foods on earth, and have learned multiple different languages, such as English, Korean, Russian, French, and Spanish. And most importantly, I have had the opportunity to meet some of the greatest people the world has to offer. Cons, however, vary greatly. I grew up my entire life never fully being able to relate to my surroundings. My family and I would move to a different city or country every couple of years, and it was very hard for me as a kid to go to a new place, find new friends, and be comfortable in a new environment so quickly. However, as difficult as these circumstances were, they ended up teaching me some of the most important lessons I've ever learned. In Korea, I learned to respect my elders and to treat others in a way that I would like to be treated. In the United States, I learned how to socialize with new people and to make friends. And in Russia, I learned just how difficult learning a language could be. In South Korea, I learned to respect my elders and to treat others in a way that I would want to be treated. In the United States, I learned to socialize with new people and to make friends. And in Russia, I learned just how difficult a language can be, and that someone could say the nicest thing possible and still sound like they're trying to kill you. But above all, I believe that there's always a lesson to be learned, no matter where you are. You just have to keep your eyes open to see it. An important lesson I've learned is that you always find who and what makes you feel at home. For instance, I've turned to sports and spending time with friends as some of my outlets, but nothing comes up before family in terms of homeliness. It is vital that in the midst of chaos, you always find something or someone to hold on to for stability. An interesting thing is to a lot of my friends and family back in the States, it is hard to recognize the benefits of such a drastic, almost nomadic way of life. Every time I have a conversation with with an old friend, the first question they always ask is, "So where are you nowadays?" And each time it dawns on me that what is so normal to me is a completely unusual way of life to others. And and a person will always fear what they do not understand. So although they think it is cool or interesting that I've seen all these things and gone to all these places, it is almost intimidating to think of facing those same circumstances. However, I truly believe that someone who has grown up in a foreign country is equipped with vital qualities that will aid them in the future. An interesting study out of a German institution shows that international students are less likely to drop out and more likely to succeed in a university setting compared to domestic students. My eldest sister, Atira, attended an esteemed liberal arts university in the States with a healthy balance of homegrown locals and international students with either international backgrounds or a variety of experiences. Over time, the domestic students felt increasing discomfort and felt more and more homesick compared to the international students, which often led to academic shortcomings as well as overall discontent. But why were the international students able to adapt to a new environment more easily than the domestic students? If you ask anyone who has lived in multiple places over the course of their life, they will tell you about a concept known as assimilation. Assimilation is the process of taking in and fully understanding new ideas or concepts. An example of assimilation in adapting to a new environment would be moving to a new city or country. When I do so, I always try to pick up on important aspects of culture, such as etiquette, social cues, cultural history, and many other things. Learning how to utilize these customs will aid you in networking, being accepted in social settings, and relating to others. Many people who grow up in small towns and have lived there for their whole lives find it very difficult to adapt to a new setting, such as a university or a workplace in which they feel is different from their environment, which they are accustomed to. However, people who have grown up in foreign countries or have experienced life in a variety of settings find it much easier to adapt or assimilate into the culture of the aforementioned setting. So, taking all of these factors into consideration, I would like to encourage everyone not to be afraid to break the walls of the unfamiliar and to go out and experience the world in all of its beautiful diversity. Moreover, I implore those of you who are already abroad to maximize your potential and take advantage of the opportunities you have instead of peering over the other side of the fence. So, no matter who you are or what your situation may be, expand your boundaries. Say yes to that school trip or consider studying abroad. Or even if it's something as simple as acquainting yourself with people of different backgrounds, doing these things will help you expand your view of the world more and more, one experience at a time.